Hello, hello, welcome back to the Lorethrough, and today we are handling episode 124. Last time we broke into Farum Azula, and we killed an ancient dragon, and it dropped an ancient dragon smithing stone. And weirdly enough, that's all it took to get an ancient dragon smithing stone. No elongated quest line, nothing of the sort. Interestingly enough, that beastman was carrying a jar shield. So we're going to look at what the jar shield has to tell us. Shield fashioned from a tall broken jar carried by the beastmen of Farum Azula. There is a particular knack to wielding it. The beastmen have always fired earthenware jars for the express purpose of making shields. Such are their ways, strange enough though they are. So this is the first we've ever seen of people making jars. So perhaps the beastmen, possessing knowledge beyond human ken, made the jars? Maybe the jars were later repurposed for the Erd Tree and given that seal on top of them, that wax seal to hold all their guts and innards. Don't know. Kind of odd, to say the least. But we have some interesting things to look at around here. We have some more of these bodies here. Seems that these might be the bodies of the beastmen, not necessarily cows, like I had earlier suspected. And they're covered in gold, weirdly enough. These unique graves seem to have real-world correlations, right? The Beastmen graves in Farum Azula are heavily inspired by the real-world Varna necropolis graves, where are, like, I believe the oldest. I don't know if it's the oldest gold in the world, but there was certainly a whole lot of gold there. So you can look up the Varna necropolis graves, and you'll look at it, and there is definitely a lot of similarities there. The gold bangles, the jewelry, the circular gold discs, the half-buried mounds. It's all there. Definitely inspired by real-world stuff. Don't you fret. And we'll try to keep an eye out for more neat things like that. Is there anything on this roof? More of these prominent statues of humans. They had access to shingle technology. Kind of endearing. So many dragons about. And I think they're just two-winged dragons. They might be a unique model. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a look at them. They're definitely lower poly to save on processing. But yeah, they seem a little more closely, since they don't have front limbs and they don't have four wings. Yeah, they're a little more related to the modern dragons that we're used to, not the ancient dragons. Or so it would seem. Okay. What's next? I think we need to do the upper area first. Oh. Lightning great bolts. Couldn't get them all, though, unfortunately. Start getting our health back. We're doing a proper zone now. We gotta pay some more attention. Just a smidge. We're assassinating these beastmen. Sure, they've lived through the centuries, and I don't know why that didn't take. There we go. Probably don't need to focus so much on dodging, but it's just what's happening. See how well this does. It's a sneak attack. Ah, pretty well indeed. Not too shabby. Was there just a body on this edge? Was there another way up? I feel like there's a way up there that I'm just really missing. It must have been the roof somehow. I must have missed it. Probably walked all sorts of around up there and didn't even look hard enough. Yep, it was the roof. Should have guessed. I was trying to remember what the point of the roof was. Goodness me. My addled mind. Gravelstone. Delectable. There's 3 more over there. This one seems to be on patrol. And as long as we don't break any bones, I don't think they'll notice us. Though we may need to get their attention on this next part. It may be somewhat unavoidable. Ooh, he's throwing lightning little tomahawk things. Ooh, and they curve all funny. There we go. And we can see what this gold thing is they're protecting. It's a great grave gloveworts. We can max out a spirit ash if we want. There's more of these very interesting pieces of artwork. Honestly, they're shackled down with gold. Very interesting looking. There seems to be a deep, it's sophisticated culture here of some variety that's kind of beyond us, which is probably intentional. It's supposed to have some similarities that we understand. Heck, there's little lions on these little braziers here. So perhaps there were lion beastmen of a sort. If there's lion beastmen and these more dog-like beastmen, what are their correlations to the Empyrean shadows, which we know are wolves? Like Blythe, for instance. Right? And Vargrim, the Raging Wolf, wanted to be such an Empyrean. Okay. Any more figures down here? I feel like there might be a figure down here that I'm just missing. Ancient Dragon Prayer Book. We'll look at that in just a moment. Oh boy. 2 of these books. And he's down and out. And we're going to grab this side grace. And look! Trees! And they kind of look like pine trees. Coniferous trees. Very interesting. And a handful of possibly deciduous ones. If I'm identifying them correctly, I could have them flipped. Interesting, unique tree model here. There's the little walkway we took to get here, where that ancient dragon was the last episode. And we see an item here. On a Hood of the Guilty, no less. Scourged and burned. How'd he get here? Somber Stone Miner's Bell Bearing, which is an item that gets us... Bell bearing of a miner who once dug for somber smithing stone. It lets us buy the 7 and 8s. Oh, thank goodness. We also got the Ancient Dragon Prayer Book. It gets us a prayer book of the capital's ancient dragon cult. A lost tome that never reached the lands between. Contains red lightning incantations. Never reached the lands between, but it's of the capital's ancient dragon cult. Interesting. Was it made here in Fair Missoula? Unique. Where did they get their ancient dragon cult, their worshipping practices? Allegedly from ancient dragons, right? And we can give it to a learned cleric to access the following: Ancient Dragon Lightning Spear and Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. And we will get those. We're going to do a little side area here, and then we're going to go get those spells, and then we're going to teleport to that side grace. I'm hoping by voicing my plan out loud, I'll actually follow through with it. Or maybe, just maybe, I will appear more like a disappointment to you. Hopefully not, but could very well happen. We're hearing awful warbling noises. It's very subtle right now. You may not be able to hear it with my game's volume as it is. But the warbling is coming from these worm faces, of all things, and they are horrible. Oh, I love that. The dancing blade plus the multiple hits. It just ramps up the damage. Very fun. Okay, and I think there's a thing over here, though I'm a little worried about it. do the jumping right. Yeah, there seems to be an item over here. And we hear a dragon noise. Oh no. Not the most damaging. Ooh, we're gonna get knocked off if I'm not careful. Don't want any of that. So let's resort to a couple dirty tactics to keep our footing. Oh, God. Not very consistent, unfortunately. You need to stop doing that. God, he's just got so much health. Don't want to die here. I just killed one of these things. I did have a little help, I suppose. Maybe they're just not weak to magic. Maybe I'm using the wrong element by a mile. Or the wrong weapon. Oh, this is the wrong weapon as well. Shucks. It's almost dead anyways. Come on. There we go. His Achilles heel. And that puts us at the end of our resources. We got to do the next part smart. Smarter than I am. Which is pretty easy to do. It's a really low bar. No lore to be found in that dragon, other than it really didn't want us to get that one smithing stone. Oh yes, the warbling, I'm remembering now. Which means I should probably find a way to kill them. That'll work out without using too much mana. So we'll do exactly that. This seems like a tactic that'll work. Get him with these good old power attacks. Ooh. That made a weird noise, but it dealt with him just well enough, so. I feel like these things are slightly better than the pickaxes, which is a shame, because the pickaxes are cool and iconic, but these things have blood on them, which is neat and helpful. Okay. I think we have another one hanging out back here. Here he is. I remember when I shouldn't. They have medallions all over them, which is very interesting. These gold medallions, which we now see are kind of reminiscent of the Varna necropolis. Don't think we have anything to fight over here, do we? No, I think this is just a way back up. Okay. Wow. Jump attack builds. Don't see them that often anymore. But they do exist, and for good reason. It's free damage. Oh, dear. Really? I didn't know there was a dog here. Well, they have beastmen who are kind of dog-like. They have actual dogs. They have worm faces, and they have dragons, and we've only seen statues and corpses depicting humans. Or at least human enough entities. From the starting races, there's one called Draconic, if you recall. It's kind of got this obsidian glassy skin. And they, well, had something to do with dragons, and if I remember, they lived harsh but short lives. More Smith and Stone 8s. Delightful. Probably should have given that one a little hop, instead of neutral falling off of junk. Especially since we can only look down so far. So if I remember correctly, this isn't a fight worth bothering into. You can bother into it if you want. But I think you can just sneak along the outside. There's this little water channel here, kind of neat. And they make these horrible sobbing noises, and they have all these worms in their face, and they have this weird circular mouth in the middle of all that nonsense, where more worms happen. And they do have ears, and it seems they have a deformed face, so it makes me think that they weren't always like this, whatever entity they happen to be. But at the same time, we've seen them around and protecting minor Erdtree, a minor Erdtree, the one in the Central Altus Plateau. They're just so bizarre. They're covered in all those pockmarks. Ugh. Kind of stomach churning to look at them. But we're going to head to the Church of Vows. So even though we've gone and wrecked the Erdtree, we can go to the Church of Vows. And don't you know, the Erdtree's in a sorry state. It's a burning. It's colored the sky. But we're going to say hi to Muriel.
Greetings. Do you need anything?
We can give him a prayer book.
Oh, what have we
I think
here?
our last.
Very well, let us both learn together. Heresy is not native to the world. It is but a contrivance. All things can be conjoined.
Heck yeah. Alright, let's study them incantations. We'll look at them first. So there's the Spear and the Strike. Ancient Dragon Lightning both. A secret incantation of the capital's Ancient Dragon Cult creates a spear of red lightning and stabs it into the ground from above. On impact, the spear will burst into trails of lightning covering the area. Spoken of in legend, red lightning is the weapon wielded by the ancient dragons. Summons a red bolt of lightning that scatters and spreads around the surrounding area. Charging enhances range of the lightning bolt. So if I remember this one correctly, this is the one that's actually kind of helpful. It does great damage, and it'll zap fry people get too close to you, especially in PvP. Though its pattern's a little erratic, it's not too erratic as to be less useful, like Ancient Death Lightning or whatever it was called. The Spears, on the other hand, or the Stakes, because there's the duo version you get from the boss soul, if I recall correctly. You can throw these off of ledges where they'll stake down below and then do the ripple effect, so they also have that effect, which is kind of neat. And the Ancient Dragon Lightning Spears, both the single and duo version, if I recall, have a monstrous amount of hyper armor. That could have changed, but I don't think it has. So. And I think before we head back to Fair Missoula, we're going to check in at the Round Table Hold, because for some reason it too is burning. Let's see what Enya has to say.
You've done it, I see. What use do you have for me now? I am a finger reader. I will remain here until their dialogue ends and the fingers speak again. Do as you please. Take whatever course seems most worthy to you. Now you may go. You'd force this tired old crone to work, even now. Ah, harder taskmaster have I never met.
Yeah, so we can receive the power of remembrance still. And the equipment of champions.
Now.
Okay. Okay, okay. Is there anyone else here to talk to? Maybe Gideon will have something to say?
You burned the Erd tree, didn't you?
How'd you
Then
know?
the round table is soon to follow. No need to fret about that. The round table hold served to put a tarnish upon the throne of Elden Lord. And if the Erd tree needed to burn for that to happen, then the round table must go as well.
But all these books.
I'll stay at the round table for a time. I must learn all that can be taken from this place, and sear it into my memory. How could I call myself the All-Knowing if I did any less? There are 4 more. Nicola, his twin, Luna, and Rani has said to so here if you should learn, I'll trade you. We both as such.
Okay, I think that's all he has to say that. About all that nonsense stuff we've heard before. But we didn't notice before. But Roderica's over by the fireplace again.
Take a look around. The round table hold is burned, razed to the ground.
It's not raised
Don't
yet.
worry. I don't blame you. I'll continue spirit tuning just the same as before, which is why I need your help persuading Master Hugh to leave. His roots are so knotted in this place. He won't last much longer if he stays here. His shackles are broken. He's a free man now. It's high time he put the round table behind him.
And we can even have her spirit tune some more. I think we have enough ashes we can safely upgrade a few of our choice ones. And of the more notable ones, probably Tish. How can you not upgrade Tish? She's just too strong. And we'll leave it like that for now. If we have any others, we'll think about it. Still, feels nice to have some plus 10s. Let's see what's going on with Hewig.
I knew you'd be back. Lay out your arms. Let's get smithing.
Why are you still making weapons?
Weren't you listening? As I've always said, you came to challenge the demigods and their god, to slay them. And as long as you do, I will always smith your weapons. It is what I wish. To smith a weapon for you to slay a god.
He wants us to stick it to authority no matter the cost.
Lay out your arm.
Okay. We'll need to come back here when we're done with Farah Missoula. I think we'll have more dialogue then.
I see. You're... Oh, is that right? So Master Hugh won't listen to you either. You have my thanks regardless. I'll try and talk him round next time. I know he was given this great entreaty to craft a weapon which could slay a god. Though I can't help but think of it as a curse. A fearsome curse. Put on him by Queen Marika. And if that's the case, I'm not sure there's anything we can do.
True to all the deities in Soulsborne games, the more you learn about them, the less they even have a remote hint of being benevolent.
Lay out your arm.
What happened to her?
I've upset the girl. She says that now my chains are broken, I'm free. That if I stay here, I will be ruined with the round table. What use have I for freedom now? I smith weapons to slay a god. I have lived and will die doing so upon this spot. Is there any other way? Lay out your arm.
Okay, and just because I'm curious, we're going to rezone the area and see if that helps with any of the dialogue going on.
I see.
Okay, so she has nothing more to say. Hewig's still a pounding away.
Lay out your arms.
Nothing. Okay. So we've exhausted their dialogue, and it seems that Hewig's in a sorry state, tied to the run table hold. Not good. We like Hewig, and we've already put a miserable end to so many people's stories, good and bad. But we have a job to do, and we're gonna, doggone it, keep going about it, because we No other path. But hey, here we see a familiar sight. We know that little pot man. We may not get to him this episode, but we will try. I think our goal is just to get to the next grace, honestly. But we will see him at some point, because we saw him there. And sure enough, there's skeletal Farum Azula Beastmen. To be fair, the other ones are already pretty close to skeletal. And these ones are those who live in death. Even that one has the shield that we've seen associated with that Sunny Kingdom that we've seen some skeletons wielding. So there's some connection between those raggedy skeletons and these undead Farum Azula Beastmen. Is that the same kingdom? Is it the Kingdom of the Sun, the Farum Azula one? Yeah, you can probably see that shield real good for that split moment there. Where's the last one? Ah, here he is. Well, there's two of them. They're kind of pitiful. But I can't tell you how many times I've seen people get invaded and get wrecked here just because those little supporting skeletons are just enough. And to be fair, if you're not wielding Sacred Blade or some other holy thing, then they'll take their toll. They'll take their toll for sure. Now, those ones aren't too much trouble, but there are larger ones coming up that are many troubles. And there's even a bowman taking shots if you take too long. Ow! You still shooting at me? Really? I think you're clever. I can't really kill him. I can't confirm the kill from down here. But this good old bonk hammer is doing its job. Probably should have switched it out for the rot version, but oh well. If we get the highest of level smith and stones here. This is a place we can jump down and get the grace, and I should go there, but I think I'm going to take the little side path first. It's a brief little stint. Shouldn't be too bad. Didn't get as far as I'd like, but hey, having episode consistency is probably a good thing, right? Gotta make sure I draw out the time I have with ya. Aw. And they have bandit curve swords even. Kinda interesting. That would be something they have. Oh. Feel rather dumb now for plinking against the wall. You don't have to go up above, though, to that grace. There is this lower area down here, which we will need to explore at some point, because the two areas are kind of independent, that upper area and this lower area. Easy to miss. I hope I remember that. I should. Heck, I remembered the Dung Eater after all this time, so... a simple 4,000 damage. Wow. You know, say what you will about the Golden Order, but they really did craft a weapon that's very good against one particular kind of enemy, those who live in death. They did a stellar job at that. And, they did have a whole civilization that was probably pretty bright and gleaming for a time. Oh, interesting. So here's it looks like not two dragons, but two birds. Interesting. I don't think this is the twin-headed bird like we've seen in that kite shield. Do I have it on me? I do. Shield featuring a vividly painted twin bird. The twin bird is said to be the envoy of an outer god and mother of the death birds. At dwindling levels of HP, this shield slightly boosts both attack and defense. Could be them. It's the only other twin bird-like symbol we've seen throughout the whole game. They're probably dragons, but the fact that they're feathered's a little odd. And the modern dragons, they do have some feathers in them compared to the ancient dragons. But they don't have, like, fully feathered wings. Well, gravity should do them in. Oh, what a nice projectile attack to have. Its maximum angle upwards is pretty good. And here we get a great grave glovewort. And those guys would normally hop down to mess us up, but there's no need for that. Okay, let's get to that grace. We'll conclude the episode. Did a pretty good job keeping them to about 30 minutes a pop, if I do say so myself. I should have learned something after all my time, but hey, we're traversing the zone. And here we have more mausoleum. More beastmen writhing corpse masses in the wall. Honestly, it looks like they're trying to use the bodies not to just bury them, but to depict some art. Like, look, they all have their mouths open. Like they're looking up towards something. We'll have more theories hopefully next time. I think I promised that last time as well. Look, it's those little dragon sconces like we saw in the Bestial Sanctum. Cute. Anyways, thanks for joining me for episode 124. Next time, episode 125. And we'll be that much closer to concluding the Lorethrough. Thank you, and have a good one. Bye-bye.